You are in charge of a colossal military cargo vessel, leading a group of 300 people, more than tomorrow, and the whole ship just vanishes. No distress call, no debris confirmed, no survivors, nothing. In early 1918, the United States had become involved in the First World War. An over-Atlantic ocean, vessels strained under the weight of fuel, supplies, and raw materials vital to the war. One such vessel was the USS Cyclops, a huge freighter designed to carry heavy equipment for the United States Navy. She was more than 500 feet long, and she was the longtime American fleet carrier. When America got in the war, Cyclops was commissioned. Her mission was straightforward: get supplies, support Allied operations, and to keep the war machine running. In early 1918, Cyclops was sent to South America. She reached Brazilian waters, and she took on thousands of tons of manganese ore. The haul was exceedingly heavy, but like the sea-going oil tankers or containers carrier ship, the ship could bear gigantic weight of cargo. So, the way home was started. Cyclops sailed from Rio de Janeiro on the 16th of February 1918. Her destination was Baltimore. On the way, she made a short stop in Barbados. There were hundreds on board, officers, sailors, and passengers. Everything looked normal. The vessel was due to continue its northward and eventually make its way to the United States. But after leaving Barbados, something happened. Because from that time, the USS Cyclops vanished from the record. The Cyclops was to arrive in Baltimore, but it never did. Days passed, then more days. No message arrived. No distress signal was heard. There were no reports from radio operators of any distress calls. Initially, no one had any idea anything was amiss. The ship had merely not turned up. And then, concern turned to alarm ship to ask, has this thing happened to that one? A search was started. Ships were dispatched over the Atlantic. Officials considered possible routes. They hunted the waters where Cyclops should be. But there was a problem. There was almost nothing to see. No lifeboats, no floating debris, no confirmed wreckage, no bodies, nothing. The disappearance was made even more unsettling by the fact that the ship hadn't been a small boat. It was huge, and there were more than 300 people on board. How does something that big just disappear? At the time, still, the world was at war, so one reading was instantly feasible. A German submarine. Maybe Cyclops had been torpedoed. Maybe a German raider had attacked the ship. The theory made sense, but there was a catch. There was no sign they had been attacked by an enemy. Post-war accounts and examination of the evidence concluded that there was no proof that German troops had torpedoed the ship. Then, other theories began to emerge. Some suspected sabotage. Others questioned if the crew had mutinied. The captain himself also featured in the rumors. His name was George W. Worley. And because he was German-born, tension mounts. The suspicion on him grew during the inquiry. Naval intelligence considered the possibility of treason. But nothing ever showed that the commander had turned his back on the U.S. And there was no convincing evidence of mutiny either. The investigation continued. But the ocean remained silent. Over 100 years later, the USS Cyclops remains missing. No confirmed rig has been found. No final message was received. And no one is certain what transpired in the ship's last hours. One possibility: was the huge cargo too big to handle? Cyclops was transporting manganese ore by the thousands of tons. The vessel was built to carry heavy cargo, but there was later questions concerning the strains imposed by such a compact load. Could there have been structural faults? Possible structural problems? And the ship sustaining a major, perhaps catastrophic, structural failure in heavy seas? Could the cargo have moved? Or could a mighty tempest have swamped the ship? These ideas are still viable, but none has been conclusively demonstrated. Then there was another mystery. The USS Cyclops was not the only ship involved in this tale. Two of her sister ships, USS Proteus, and USS Nereus, and the USS Nereus, would later disappear in the same general region, also laden with heavy ore cargo. The two were buried without a trace. Neither vanishing was confirmed to be the result of enemy action. Over time, the disappearances became associated with something far more famous, the Bermuda Triangle. Stories had it that strange forces had devoured the ships. But there is an important catch. The Bermuda Triangle itself is largely a later cultural invention, and the U.S. Navy has come up empty in its investigation into whether otherworldly powers were behind the vanishing of the Cyclops. The real enigma may be far scarier, because there may be nothing supernatural about what happened there. Maybe the ship had a catastrophic structural failure. Maybe the heavy cargo shifted. Maybe a squall got the best of the vessel. Maybe there was a perfect storm of things, if that's what happened. The whole thing may have been obliterated by the Atlantic Ocean. Today, the USS Cyclops still stands as one of the most colossal disappearances in U.S. naval history. 306 people disappeared. No relief wreck has been identified, no surviving sound, and a final message never came. A huge vessel entered the ocean and vanished, just vanished. And like that, poof, perhaps the solution still lies beneath the Atlantic, buried beneath thousands of meters of water, waiting in the darkness for someone to eventually locate the ship that went missing with over 300 people on deck.